Welcome to Georgie's Kitchen. We're going to do, in Georgie's Kitchen, we're going to do many things, but today we're going to try something that I believe is very, very nice and you're going to like very much. In Puerto Rico, they're called Tostones. Colombia, they call them patagones. In Haiti, they call them banampés. And in the Dominican Republic, they call them fritos verdes. They're the plantain. You'll see these usually where they have tropical fruits like papaya. You'll see these where they have, exotic cuisine. All they are is a very large breed of banana. They're very different from the yellow bananas that we see everywhere. And these are called plantains. This one's a small one, considering that some of them can be this big. For the recipe today of tostones, or patagones, or fried plantains, we're just going to use this one here. And you're going to see my recipe is very special. A lot of people have my fried plantains, or tostones, or patagones. They go, wow. And you'll see why. We'll also make a little sauce on the side, which is basically olive oil and garlic. You could have it on, or you can have it not. Some people have hot sauce on them. Some people just put ketchup because it has the texture of potato, a fried potato sometimes, but the flavor is typical banana. So let's get started. So let's go through what the things we're going to need in order to make these tostones, these fried plantains, and I'll refer to them as tostones from now on. We're going to using a kettle, and in the kettle we're going to have we're using sunflower oil because it's supposedly one of the most healthiest oils to fry with. Some people use canola, corn oil, olive oil. I wouldn't use olive oil for frying something like this. Some people will have a deep fryer. So, use your deep fryer just like you use it when you fry French fries or something like that. We have a knife, sharp knife. We have our green plantain. We have garlic. And we have a little dish to make our garlic and oil that we're going to use over the fried plantains. We have a tostonera. These you find, this one's quite old, these you find in basically little shops, grocery shops that are Hispanics. They call them tostoneras, and they look like this. If you don't have this and you can't find that, it's no big deal. You can use a dish and a bag. And basically what you're going to do is you'll put the banana here, you put the bag over the banana because we'll crush them at some point. We'll see that process. And then you just press. And it has the same effect as our tostonera. So I just put this here as a reference to what it is. We'll use a garlic crusher. I have here a wooden spoon where I want to smash the garlic. Instead of having to peel it, it kind of opens up itself. Salt. Use a container where we're going to put water and salt, and a little container where we'll put a little paper towel just so the oil, when we take them out of the oil. So let's get started. First thing we want to do is we want to put water and salt in this. We'll put the salt in first. It's quite a bit of salt, but remember, cooking is basically chemistry and physics. It's all about expansion, contraction, temperatures, manipulating certain things, using water and other things to create an effect on the food which makes it tastier or look better. So this is like being in science class. So now what we're going to do is the salt we put here, which is quite a bit, we're just going to use it to soak the bananas in. We're going to put water. So we're putting enough water so that the bananas can submerge. It doesn't matter too much as long as the bananas are submerged. And you'll see what I mean once I place the bananas, or the banana cut in slices, in this. So let's go back here to our counter, and with my finger, what I'm going to do is just twirl the water and salt so that the water absorbs the salt, or the salt absorbs the water. It's up to you. And so now we know, it's very salty. Now we're going to go ahead and cut the banana. And this is a trick. You just cut the banana like this using the very sharp edge of the knife, and you just want to go skin deep on the banana. So we just want to go skin deep when we do that cut. So that knife is going to be there. If you go a little too far, you see how I took a little banana there? You don't really want that to happen. You want the banana to basically just peel off. The greener the banana, the more difficult this is going to be. And sometimes it becomes really, really difficult. This banana is not as green as I wish it was. But because these are not that easy to find, perfect green, you find them, and sometimes they're beyond, they're too yellow, they're too sweet. If they're sweet, you can't do this. It's not going to work. So we hope this one works for us today. We hope this banana is, or plantain, I should call it plantain, is green enough. And as you see, I'm using my nails, which I don't have much. I cut them very short. And if I have a little bit, I'll just shave it off. Now here's something very important. How thick should I cut the bananas? We're going to cut this banana. Let me get rid here of the excess we won't need. So I usually use my thumb, the area of my thumb from here to here. It could be a little bit more, a little bit less. I've done this many times, so I basically know how thick I want to cut them. And so I'll take these and I'll drop them in the water now, and I'll let them soak a little bit, just a little bit. Let me grab a towel. So now we're going to put those bananas that have been soaking for a couple of minutes in the water, and we're going to bring them into our pot. I've had the oil. Oil has to come to be very hot, figure about 350 degrees. We're also going to bring into the scene here a perforated spoon, large spoon, which will allow us to take those bananas out without bringing the oil with us as we move them about. Also, while this oil is heating up, I'm going to grab some paper towel to cover my little container, my small container, where I'm going to bring those bananas in. So you could see right here, I've just lined a small container with a little bit of paper towel. Some people use a cloth towel. It's fine. So now I'm going to bring these closer to the kettle I have here. This is your typical Caribbean kettle. They come larger. Some even come very small. People will do all sorts of little dishes in here, from fish to rice and beans, rice and chicken, some really nice stuff. But it's quite of a standard equipment in your Caribbean kitchen. I'm going to drop one in, and we'll see if the oil is hot enough. See, that oil could be a little hotter, and I'm going to let it be there. And I have my little spoon in here, and I'll move it. What happens with these bananas, when you drop them in, you need to move them quickly because they will tend to stick to the bottom of the kettle. So as soon as you drop one in, just move it as soon as they go in. Right now, this oil is still not hot enough. I'll go ahead and drop another one. It's good if you use the perforated spoon so you don't drop them in and you don't splash the oil because you'll burn your hand. So I'll put another one there, and as soon as I drop it in, I move it. I don't want them to stick on me. They're going to be in the oil for about 5 minutes. You can look at I have a little clock there on my stove that I'll use. Here's another one. Remember, try not to bring the water, the salt water, in there because it's going to splash. The oil will react to the water. The water is quite cool. It's from the tab. It's not as cool if you were up north. The water would be much colder. But you see, I move them a little bit so they don't stick. And I'm going to let them cook there for about 5 minutes. While that's cooking, I'm going to take advantage of those 5 minutes. My clock says 4:33. So 5 minutes would make it 4:38. I'm going to take advantage of that to make my very simple little, let's call it a sauce. It's oil and olive oil. But I'm going to go ahead and crush some garlic. Now, garlic, some people will come and try to cut it with a little knife. Listen, don't waste your time. Just do that to it. When you do that to the garlic, it basically peels itself quite nicely. How many I'm going to use of these to make my little, oh, I got a banana. And I love garlic. Lots of people don't know that garlic is a natural antibiotic. So garlic is good for your body. That's why so many cultures in the Caribbean and in the Mediterranean, garlic has medicinal properties. I love garlic, so I'm going to break a couple of these. Now, I'm going to use my crusher. As soon as I do these, I'll go ahead now and check on my bananas so they don't stick. And they're doing fine. It looks like I won't have to worry. I don't want to cook those bananas through. Just enough for the top. You get better and better at this recipe the more you do it. I think that's enough garlic for me. I hope it's enough garlic for you. Let's get rid of the... Garlic also makes a great adhesive. Lots of people don't know that. But if you've ever worked with garlic, you'll know that it's very, very sticky. All right. So now I'm going to take my garlic crusher and I'm going to take my knife. I'll take whatever's off. There's a little banana on my knife. No big deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to crush it. When it comes out, so I'm going to shave it so it goes right in there. I want to check my bananas also. They're doing really good, as you see. They got about 2 more minutes max. I'll go ahead, open my garlic crusher here. This little garlic crusher has been with me forever. I got it in Germany a while back, and wherever I go, this thing is indestructible. I shave the excess, I open it again, take out the inside, do it again. I'll put in there as many as I can hold. I don't want the garlic to come too much out of the side, so I don't want to load it up too much. But here I go again. Love the smell of garlic. If you're from the Mediterranean, Greek, Italian, Spaniard, yep, you must love garlic. It's a must. Garlic, onions, and peppers. It's a must. My bananas are ready to take out. It's a tiny bit under the 5 minutes I want it, but I'm going to take them out. You don't want to fry them too much. So here I go. They're lovely. Now, I don't want to keep the oil with the fire on it, so I'm going to turn it off because it's very hot and I don't want to bring these back, and these are going to be soaked in salt water, so the oil is going to react. So I'm going to bring the temperature off because this only takes a second, and then I'll turn the oil back on. So now I'll bring them here. We bring them here. They're a little hot. I'll crush them. Now I don't want to crush them too much, just about that much. Crush another one. So they're soft enough to crush. If you take them out too early, they're going to break up in tiny little pieces because they're too raw in the inside. So they just have to be right. 4 to 5 minutes at high heat is about the perfect timing for that. Go ahead and do another one. I'll do them all. still very warm. If they're too warm, you can always put your fingers in the water you have there. And this is the last one I have right here. Now, you see what they look like crushed. Now, in most countries, what they'll do is they'll put them back in the oil now. My secret, and I learned this in the west coast of Puerto Rico, that if you really want these to be yummy, 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 and you'll see what I mean, you put them back in the salt water. That's the secret. And you're only going to put them in there for just a little bit of time because the salt water will break them apart if you leave them too long. So I leave them in there about 30 seconds, maybe even a little less. Now I'll go ahead and turn my kettle back on. Now my oil is starting to heat up again, but it's hot enough for this. So I'm going to take them out, and like I said, use the spoon, perforated spoon, make sure the water is all out. You see, I keep moving them. And don't put one on top of the other because they'll stick. As they fry, they're going to get very, very soft. And you don't want them to get very, very soft. Or I'm sorry, you don't want to move them when they're very, very soft because they'll break into pieces. There, I put another one. And here I dropped one with my hand. And I'm just moving them a little bit. And now I let them fry. You really don't want to move them. If you have to because you think they're sticking to the bottom, just move them slightly. But as they start frying, reaching the way you want them to be, they start floating to the top. So you wouldn't really want to load too many here. If I had 2 plantains, I'd do one first and do the next batch. Or I'd put enough so I would fill these spaces, but I wouldn't put them one on top of the other. Here's my garlic. And you could crush more garlic. You could crush less garlic. It's all up to you. Now I'll take olive oil. Now, Puerto Ricans love this Goya olive. I grew up with this. It's great stuff. It's Spanish oil, really. But you can use any type of olive oil. This is extra virgin. This is 100% pure olive oil. So it's not extra virgin, but only a connoisseur would really know the difference. So I take that, and I'll take a little spoon, and what I'll do with that is I'll mix the oil. So here I'm mixing it. I saw someone who did the same recipe, put in the garlic, and then crushed a little bit of ginger, fresh ginger, put it in there. Wow, that was really, almost gave it a little Caribbean Asian feeling. Let's look at our fried plantains. How are they doing? We want to turn them over now, if they're floating, so that the heat heats the other side. Now we got to watch them carefully, because once they start, if you ever do frying, you know that once a browning process starts, it moves very quickly. Before you know it, it's burnt. Same thing happens in the broiler or in the oven. When it starts browning, it's a sort of chain reaction. It goes very quickly. So I'll let those float, and I'll keep an eye on them. I already have my sauce. Let me wash my hands very quickly. So if you just happen to come in the middle of what we're doing, we're frying patagones, tostones, fried plantains, fritos verdes, banan pears, as the Haitians call it. And that's what we're cooking today at Georgie's Kitchen. We've also made a nice olive oil and garlic, let's call it a little sauce. We'll call it a mojo. Mojo means something to wet, something wet. You create a mojo for chicken. If you ever go buy a chicken, you'll see it say mojo chicken, and it's sort of something as the chicken is cooking, they take a brush. Usually it's garlic and oil, and they keep making me hungry. I keep turning these around. You want them for them to be sort of a, not really golden brown, but you'll see exactly. If you see here, look at this lovely color. That's how they need to be. They're almost there. They're about half a minute away. Look how lovely that is. They'll be crunchy. What the salt water does to them when you dip them in the second time, if these were greener, the effect would even be more intense. It almost feels like they're tempura, or they've been breaded, and yet all we used was water and salt. I'm going to shut the heat off these. Now I'm going to take my little container, and now I'm going to remove them and place them in here. If you have a lot of them, yeah, now they can go on top of each other. Doesn't really matter. You can always put that mojo, that little garlic olive sauce, when you serve them. They're great to eat almost as soon as they come out, just like fries. You want fries later. You want fries now when they're nice and hot. They're crispier. I'll take my little sauce. I can see my cameraman is licking his chops. A little bit of that right there. You can eat them without this. You don't need this. This is for those who love garlic. And I love garlic. But it's very typical. Lots of people do this. So, like I said, you don't need that. Some people put hot sauce on them. Some people put ketchup. I'm not a big thing of putting ketchup on my bananas, but hey. But this is great. So there they are. Tostones with a little mojo, a little sauce of garlic, and olive oil. Let me try one of these little guys. They are awesome. They don't need salt because they were in the salt water. Or they already have salt in them. But if you have a salty tooth, like my mother, you might want to put a little, I use a little Himalayan sea salt. I love this too. Not to cook with it much, but when I use it over certain dishes. And these are just perfect. They're crunchy. I guess you heard the crunch. A little hot, but man, what a pow this has. Tostones. Georgie's Kitchen shares this with you, my friend. Enjoy. Bon appetit. Buen provecho. Enjoy your meal. Till the next time.